like a tree city. Like if you're trying to build a city on trees, these buildings are trees. The other main noticeable feature is that the very top, hanging 60 feet above the top of the city, and you guys can see it, there's the ceiling of the cave has been carved into the shape of an upside down spider up on one side. And then the rest of the cave is a natural cave that seems to have these magical pinpricks of light, or someone has taken a lot of time to light 1,000 torches, because this place is just very like Indiana Jones, you know what I mean? Like Temple of Doom style. Just lots of fires in the background. So, okay, cool. So you guys come up to the port, and when you step onto the port, the skeleton in the gondola disappear once you guys step onto the port.
Okay.
Or onto the dock. I keep saying port. That doesn't make sense. So there are lanterns all through the city, and what you see is that most of them are empty or have been stolen. Like the lamp post is still there. So all the light that's produced in the city is produced from the patrons of the city, the citizens who walk around with lanterns. So it is a brightly lit city, but it's only because of everyone's individual lights that they carry around with them, creating kind of like, as you guys are looking at the city, just constant motion, as if a starry sky that keeps kind of moving around. And the first area you walk into is an open air market. It's an area that's marked in Undercommon. Who I know, Rift, you speak Undercommon, right?
No.
You speak Undercommon. This is the old markets. This area is open, and one part of it is an old fish market. One part of it's an old slave market. And as you guys kind of push deeper into Skullport, I mean, I can kind of just, as I see it, we can kind of just walk through the things in Skullport. I don't really know what's all inside this place. And once you've exhausted the options, I mean, what are you guys looking for specifically?
I think we're very interested in exploring and like looking and seeing what is around.
You get this cloak of praise too.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we could just go straight and ask about like getting this cloak of praise. Maybe
Okay,
like magic.
cool. So you guys kind of head down the first corridor.
Cloak of the mantle.
What does that mean? Is that a well? Yeah. The first thing you notice, the city is littered with drinking wells, and there are people gathered around them scooping water into buckets and into their water skins and stuff. So
Ration
you can
cards or anything, or just grabbing free.
just grab it. They're just open wells that go deep into the earth and draw drinking water. So if you guys want to refill your skins, you can do that. And as you do, you notice a couple of humanoids that are really disfigured, and like they look, like they've got a lot of like old man makeup on to make them look extra like creepy and all like crooked, and they're just kind of like talking to each other. And as you walk up, they kind of look at you and make kind of like a grumpy face, but they're obviously terrified of the group of you, and they kind of like skitter off, and you guys can fill up your drinking containers. And beyond you in the distance, you see a woman who actually doesn't look that weird, other than the fact that her skin looks blue as if she had died in a lake, and her eyes are deep, empty pits that seem to have like maggots and different types of little bugs kind of skittering in and out of them. Not in the way that makes her look like a corpse, but more in like a creepy, like she's not a regular human kind of way. She's wearing otherwise very like I don't know. She's got kind of like a beachside aesthetic to her. She's wearing like seashells in her hair and like seaweed, and like her clothes seem to be made for easy movement and like being able to swim. Very like more like tribal in style, but and she is yelling, and as you guys like walk over, she's like, "Oh, you there!" She's like, "Come look at my wares. Come buy a zombie." And behind her, there are 5 or 6 bodies that are just like chained up.
Meryl's missing out.
Right.
Should we bring her back a zombie?
Meryl would absolutely adore this.
We should bring her a zombie.
You guys are at the market and you're like, oh, Meryl would love a zombie. That is hilarious. Everybody have a hero point just for being sweet adventurers, for making sure to shop. Well, she says sure. She says they're great for setting off traps. She says they make they're great listeners.
Great listeners.
And remember,
get
she's
your
speaking
zombies.
to
Where do
you.
you
She's
get
got
your
these
zombies?
bugs falling out of her eye sockets, and she's like smiling at you.
I ask her where she gets them.
She says.
Yeah, are these organic?
Yeah.
zombies?
Do you grow these?
She says these are bespoke. Bespoke, small batch, locally sourced, undead properties. And she says I animate them. She says I animate them myself. I found them. I found the corpses.
You don't make the corpses though, right?
She says no need, child. She says
There's corpses
She says, there's
everywhere.
corpses everywhere. She says she looks at you. With her open, dead eyes, and she says, she kind of gets close and she kind of smells your hair. She's like, oh, you've got the smell of death on you already. You don't have much time yourself.
Yes,
She says, my name is Olive Stillwater. She says, it's a pleasure to meet you. She says, this is my shop.
The
She's-
zombie dealer.
She says, I would gladly sell you a zombie. I can also find special requests, special acquisitions. Anything you'd like. And there's just like, there's a centipede just like through her eye sockets.
Would you?
Well, yes, Miss.
And she catches it, and then she like...
That's what. That's what.
Everybody roll a nature if you have it on her.
Major, if you have it. Roll.
Yeah, that's gonna be a nat 20.
Can I sniff her and see what she smells like?
Sniffer.
Nat 20, Kaylin, Riff smells. You smell and you see her. When you
Nat
roll-
20.
Yeah, you both look at each other. It's the smell that gives her away. She's a hag. She's a sea hag. She's a witch. So, but that is not uncommon. So if you kind of maybe you snarl, I imagine you get kind of like.
I mean, I'm a witch technically, so like.
Yeah, but so she's a hag. So
Yeah,
she's a
hags are
monster.
gross.
She's maybe the thing that your
Like a
sister
dead.
was trying to turn you guys into.
Okay.
She would have made like the awful end game of you would know that. So you know exactly what she is. So yes, your experience definitely informs this. And you probably from Chult, you would have encountered a handful of
I've
hags.
seen some hags.
But probably not sea hags necessarily, even though
Some
it is
swamp
surrounded by
hags,
sea,
though.
but some swamp hags, yeah. But in a place like Skullport, anything
Hags
goes.
around, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says,
pretty-
these come at a
Pretty
good
open,
price.
accepting community.
She says, I only need 1 tiny vial of blood from the buyer, and then 3 hairs plucked from the buyer's head.
No. What? I'm good.
Some
Yeah,
insight,
some
some insight on
voodoo
that.
Is this how you come about your zombies?
She says, everything comes at a cost, my dear. You'll find that my prices are very reasonable.
Can I insight her? See, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I know what she's using it for.
She's gonna charge you outrageously to identify that thing, dude. It's gonna be hard to buy things in this town, I think.
Yeah, here.
They're gonna charge us weird things. Maybe not.
23.
Right? I don't like that.
Just some obscure type of barter system like that.
Can't
You're
you
wrong.
just take this
23?
money though?
But I need
She seems to regard the payment, and if you're like, why do you want that? She looks at you as if like you're the confused one. Like she's like, these are the things I require. She's like, I'm not interested in she says, oh, you wish to use gold. She says, I care not for that. She's not interested in gold. She says, I require these components for my spells. So
You gonna ask her?
Well, Miss Stillwater, you tend to know a lot about fishy things. We have a cloak, and it smells of fish.
she says, I don't.
What are your appraisal rates?
She says, I am no dusty old arcanist. She says, am a skilled craftsman. She takes the arm of one of the zombies and kind of strokes it lovingly, and it like tries to. Ah! I gotta
We
get
all
rid of this
gonna
thing.
die.
I can't. Oh God.
Yeah.
I can't. I kept saying like I'm just gonna keep this up. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm mistaken you were.
I don't know. Looks like a hazard to me.
Yeah, it's kind of a hazard. We'll take it down. We probably won't be getting into a fight right away in this place.
You thought? Kill her!
But she strokes the arm and it like it goes crazy on her, and then she just like pats it on the head and grabs the noose that's around its neck. Each of these zombies have a short bit of rope around their neck, and when she grabs it, it instantly goes like it's perfectly like placated. And she kind
Very
of
well trained.
walks it back up to the wall, puts the rope on the wall, and then as soon as she walks away, it kind of like gets a little more of itself, but it's not quite as like vicious as it was. She says, "Well," she says, "but I go." She says, "You should check out maybe." She says, "Check out one of the trinket shops." She kind of says with disdain in her voice,
Trinket.
not specifically citing anything, as if she doesn't really care about that. She does say that. Blah 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 blah. She's like she's not interested in those kind of things. She says invariably there's somebody up the way, but she says I'm not. She says due to other people's prejudice. She says as a beetle falls out of her eyeball socket. She says I don't fraternize with many people. So you have to find
Yeah, no shit.
She says, anyways, I don't. She points to a sign and she says,
What?
no tips without purchase. She says, like, no game hints without.
Heard that. Adios.
Okay, well onward we move.
Yeah, I want a zombie. Thanks.
You're not gonna get her a zombie after all.
I don't want to lead this zombie around all night. We might grab one on the way out.
Okay,
It seems like it's
It's
close.
conveniently placed on the way out. That's true. All right, cool. So you guys head on down. As you do, you pass a group of what you think are halflings. They're all wearing big cloaks and they have these these backpacks. And as you cross eyes with them, they are not halflings. They're some sort of other creature. They have pale gray skin and little red beady orbs that kind of peek through. They're like little evil halflings.
Great.
They kind of lock eyes with you, and at first one of them kind of puffs up, but then another one grabs the other one's chest and it chitters something in its ear, and they all kind of go on. But I don't know. They didn't like your little ass.
All you were doing was walking.
And
Got beef.
you leave. The next shop you go find after Dead Man's Corner is a place called Thimblewine's Pawn Shop. And as you enter the shop, there's a little chime of ding, and a cheery rockano named Crystalline
Ooh.
kind of chirps like, "Hello, welcome to my shop." And as she does, she kind of like pops out from behind the corner and then poof, like disappears and like is like sitting on the ground in front of you and like stands up and is like, "Welcome."
Is she a man? Crystalline.
No judgments.
She says, "I'm always buying. What can I get? What can I interest you in?"
Cool.
Can I cat wander off and look for a cool magic item?
Certainly, yeah. She's not.
Cool.
Well, mainly we have inquiry into an item.
Find it.
Ah,
First of
yeah.
all, before we put offers onto tables.
She says, what kind of items you got there? She says, "Oh, that's nice." And you show her the cloak. She's like, "That's a nice cloak."
That's a nice cloak.
Yeah. She says, I'll give you 15 copper pieces for it. It smells kind of bad."
We're not looking into selling.
Pushes up her like big glasses. She says, "You don't want to sell it. Well, then why are you wasting my time, soldier?"
We're looking for its purpose.
She's like, I deal in selling and reselling wares. She says, I'm not a library. She says, I don't know. All I know is what I can get for it. She says, I can probably get She said, it smells horrible. She says, it's very fishy. Very fishy indeed.
Okay, well, this is likely not for you then. We'll go elsewhere.
It's like hump it away.
Yeah, I just like flap it.
Yeah. So as you guys look around the shop, it's very clear to you that she just deals in this is like a general goods kind of store. So she deals in mundane wares, and there is like a percentage of whatever. Like there might be a thing you need. So if there's anything you need that you before you leave town, grappling hooks or that kind of bullshit. Yeah. This will be the place you can find that potentially. So you guys exit the shop.
Space in my bag. I might see if.
Was there anything? She was looking around for something.
For what?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. So what are you looking for?
Perhaps.
I was just looking.
There's no magic items in this place, so you're not gonna find any by looking around.
Potions or health.
No potions. This is. She's a little rock gnome. She's got a little mercantile like.
I can restock arrows here, maybe.
She does not. Well, roll D100.
Oh, here comes 61.
If I can retrieve it.
61.
She's like, oh, maybe. Let me go check it out.
99.
Woo!
Oh, she says, you know what? I did. I had a couple hundred of them bound up, but then these drow came in, cleared me out. She says, no, I don't have any. Sorry.
99. Dang.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell her. I got some jewelry worth 10 gold pieces.
Oh, she says, well, I don't have the appraisal background for this, so I'll give you
I'll
10
take
gold.
7.
What?
I'll take 7 gold. They're
7
worth
gold.
10.
For.
They just says jewelry worth 10.
Okay, she said 10. She's finished.
Yeah.
You interrupted her.
She said 7 it is.
Rookie.
Rookie mistake. Dale's over here flipping his coin. Tisk.
She says, I'm sure I can sell this to somebody.
Yeah, I'm just getting rid of it.
Alright, cool. Anything else you want to do in this store?
Now I have 10
All right,
gold.
come back. Come back. She says in Gnomish. All right.
Whoa.
So you, the next little area walks out into what is like a town square that is just littered with trash. And nearly all the buildings, as you guys push through this part of the area, you're starting to this level, the street level. All these shops are for the most part, are either abandoned or like the last shop you went into completely like refortified. She has.
To the very top. We're just gonna have to go change levels here.
Yeah, we're looking for the top notch.
And as you guys kind of search around for one of these staircases, you guys passed one like right by the entryway, but you kind of made your way in. You see a sign for a tavern called the Black Tankard.
It's rest up.
And it's just basically like a one-story tavern. It's fat and wide, and it has just like one window that you can see through. And then there's a doorway that doesn't have a door. It's just like an archway. Do you guys want to go in there, or do you want to keep going through?
Let's go in there and
Yeah,
ask them where
we
we
can ask around, get some advice.
Okay. As you walk inside, the first thing you notice are the two minotaurs that are standing in either corner. One with a big war hammer, kind of leaning against his head, kind of propped up, and the other one with his sword on his shoulder, kind of like eyeing around. And as you walk in, he kind of stands up, ready to swing his sword, and the other one just kind of looks at him like, just like keeps resting. They're obviously
Just stare him down.
They're obviously the guards.
The bouncers.
Yeah. The other thing you notice is a fat and dour Duergar. He has no hair except for one little tuft that kind of sits on the top, kind of limply and sadly, and then a big mustache that runs all the way down, and then it's braided into two strands. He's very lazily cleaning a glass as you guys walk in, and his name, you don't know his name. He doesn't tell you his name. He'll just like walk in and he's like, "Hi, my name's this." So
Hi, I'm Alan.
he looks at you,
Alan.
and he kind of gives you the one over, and he looks at you and he says 2 silver.
4?
He looks over at the big, there's a big fat barrel barrel that's on its side. It's comically oversized. It literally like takes up most of the room, and the kitchen that was behind it has been knocked out so that this can sit in. And you see a sign above it in Undercommon that says Worm Whiz. Worm spelled like dragon with a Y. Worm Whiz. He just kind of points back at it. He's like,
"Oh, they sell.
That's all we've got."
And Worm Whiz.
You also all notice that he's standing on a stool because he's standing down over looking at you.
I'm not thirsty.
Yeah. Is
You got any room?
so, sir, is there anywhere we can go to get items appraised? Maybe that they have special features, or how is? We're new here.
2 silver pieces, friend.
I'm gonna jump up there and roll on my back as a kitty cat. And just like try to be all cute.
He's like looks over at the angry looking minotaur, as I say, and he points back to a sign that's in Dwarven.
We can read everything.
We can read everything. Yeah. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, he points back at the sign and it says "No pets allowed." He says, "Get the fuck out." And the minotaur comes up and it's got this big rusty blade and he's like, and I mean, you guys gotta buy. He's not gonna let you.
Yeah. Okay.
And you gotta leave.
Yeah.
And he starts going.
I shall handle this.
I pick the cat up and we walk out the door.
Well, I don't walk out.
I'm gonna do a
I
little
pick the cat up.
Okay,
gust of my dander and pet fur. And
What's
his
your
face.
hesitation? Yeah. All right. What do you say?
Spirits, they're leaving.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave, but I'm.
Yeah, and as you leave, roll me a persuasion with disadvantage because he's all sneezy and upset.
Sorry, your persuader left.
Hold on.
I rolled Lady Bird. How you doing, Lady Bird?
Like
16.
bird.
He's like, God. Yeah, you're not gonna find anything like that at the street level. This is a part of town that's rough and tumble. Clearly, your first time here, Angel Boy.
I don't spend time in low places.
Is that a joke about my height?
No, I have said not. So.
He says, "You're not gonna find what you want down here. I'm gonna ask you nicely. Leave before I have Harry here kick you out."
Well, can I not take a drink of the whiz? No.
You give him the money?
Yeah.
Okay.
I throw him
the door. We'd probably kick both those minotaurs' asses, by the way. High check.
And
Yeah, okay. Roll
but
your high check.
I throw him a gold piece. Like, not even.
Alright, you all throw him a gold piece. He looks at you and he looks back at the other one. He says, Logor and Harry are their names. He says, Logor, stand down. And both they kind of go back to their spots.
My friends are jokers.
He says, your friends are fools. He says, but no matter. What you seek is going to be found probably on the 2nd or 3rd floor. If you can't find a shop that's open, because I don't tend to go on strolls around town myself, he says, you can probably find a wizard staying at...
Ooh, that was a good one. They're all pretty good.
He said you can probably find one of the few places people congregate is up on the upper level. He said the Worm's Gullet, the only restaurant in Skullport. He said that's you're bound to find a wandering wizard there who might be able to help you.
Who's the chef? Is he
Says,
good?
now please drink your shit and get out of my place.
Oh, wow.
Your information is most appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
Throw
And
it in his face.
he just walks back.
It's so
He's just not
rude.
interested.
Throw it in his face.
I wish I was allowed to talk to
Do that.
you. Sorry, bringing pork.
So he's the proprietor, and
This shit sucks.
and there aren't many places to get a drink in this town. So this is it's his call. And he also he's being pretty friendly for a Duergar. I mean, if you whether your character knows that culturally or not, I mean, he didn't try to take you as a captive and then sell you. So, which is like common practice. They teach that to children. So.
they bring them up.
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
embedded in there.
So he says you can try that. He says invariably there's bound to be someone up on the higher levels, but yeah, you're wasting your time in the lower level. That's what he
All right.
says.
Well, your information is greatly appreciated.
Do you drink your drink?
Yeah, I drink it.
When you do, you get 1 inspiration point or 1 hero point.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
It puts a little pep in your step. It
Little
is
pivot.
horrible tasting, but it's like
Is it actually warm piece?
cranks you up a little bit.
It's actually warm.
Do you ask him?
Is this actually worm whiz?
Well, it's
Yeah,
family
the-
recipe, but I'll tell you this: it does contain
tasted it a
trace
few times.
magical properties.
Well, I do feel better. Thank you.
You're welcome, friend.
He's like, I pissed in it once.
It's old family secret, but yeah.
So you guys meet you outside. You guys have been waiting outside of another. You can see a sign for Goods Distillery, and it's got this like picture, this wooden sign with this picture of this smiling dwarf on it, like 1 tooth, no other teeth. And then you see other signs for different types. There's he's got these the delicious and sweet amberjack, and we've got fresh goat's head ale. Just it's all these different types of boozes and
Goat
things
head
you can
ale.
buy. And if you guys are interested in that shop, you can go interact with them. It's a big three-story stone building.
We have to get to the next
What
one.
kind of shop?
All right.
It's
a
like
distillery.
Distillery.
Yeah.
Right.
As you leave this area, it opens up into Skull Square, which is empty. It's just a bunch of empty buildings. Lots of iron giblets dangling from wooden masts. So as you walk through here, it gets its name because a lot of the bodies have deteriorated out of these old giblets, these cages that hang that used to have people inside of them.
Yeah, that's
And all that seems to be left are bones and skulls.
There's nothing in any of these.
Oh no, this if you get interested and start even looking through these abandoned spaces, like you'll see that the only thing that's left is magics that help protect the metals that hold up the structures, and that's about it.
Because they've just been picked clean.
Yeah, this has been clean. This is it's kind of old. I mean, it hasn't been taken care of. You guys then walk by. On the way, you see a sign that will lead you upstairs to the middle level, which starts at what number? Okay. And there are a bunch of like little shops in this area, in this square. You see a place called the Flagon and Dragon, which is a wooden stone tavern. It looks a little bit nicer, and it's got more of like a nicer feeling to it. It looks like it probably costs a little bit more. The Dark Harvest Market is the last thing you guys see before you head up to the middle level. And there are a bunch of Duergar who are looking over a handful of like children were-rats who are like moving like crates of like food and like setting up shop and like running their things. So these Duergar have their slaves, and their slaves are these were-rat children. But you can buy fruit from them if you want to. This is literally like a D&D, like we're D&Ding through the mall right now. I feel like we're playing, we're in fantasy mall.
Yeah.
So if you want fruit,
We've explored anything, I think.
we move down. You finally find let's see, a staircase that leads you up to the second level. Oh no, I'm wrong. No, there's no more at the bottom level. Also in this square, you see the Sword and the Sextant. And it's a little tiny shop, and it has all these different maps outside, and you can see that like the sign has like a globe on it, and there's a big like the Sword Coast has like been illustrated on it, and there are these two halflings that you can see through the window who are like working on these maps and like kind of bustling around their shop. It's a little map shop. You see another shop a little bit further down in the square called the Guts and Garters. And it is
Sexy.
it's an inn.
Oh, yes. Let's do
Of
that.
course, it's an inn.
Tired, bro?
Yeah. Do you guys want to take a long rest? You guys. This is the same day of.
Yeah.
I'm missing like half my.
Yeah. This is the same day
We
as
can do that.
the drow fight that you guys were in.
We can
So.
check in.
It's
All
time.
right. Okay, cool. So you guys walk inside, and you're greeted by a sullen, kind of like soft-spoken tiefling named Quietude. God.
Of course, her name's Quiet.
Yeah, her name's Quietude. She's like, welcome.
Melancholy.
She says, welcome to the Guts and Garter.
She hates her. She doesn't even exist.
She's like, anything that you need while you're here. She says that the night is 5 gold pieces per day.
Per person?
Per person, per bedroom.
Shoot.
So you can fit probably.
Alright.
She says you can probably fit all of you in one bedroom. It just would be
cool.
2 of you sharing a bed and 2 of you sleeping on the floor.
No problemo.
Oh, I'm
Can we do
fine with
4 for, I don't know, maybe 18 gold pieces?
3 on a cat.
Oh, 3 for maybe 13 gold pieces?
She says, "Well, I will. I'll do 3 for 15, and we'll forgo our pet fee,
How much is that?
which is usually 3 gold pieces.
Heard that.
So I think that qualifies.
I think that qualifies.
You're the one who has to say.
Yeah.
That's a deal.
I'm gonna take that level of exhaustion
Not bad.
right before you.
right before we take it.
Me might as well.
She says this common room is as yours to use. If you need anything, please let me know. I'm more than happy to meet any of your requests."
Did something happen to you?
She says the continental breakfast is at morning,
It's happening this morning.
and she says, "Just enjoy yourselves while you're here." She's
So tired of talking to us.
she's a tiefling. She's got these like horns, real pale skin. She says to go ahead and use the room. She says feel free to eat any food that's left in the larder. She points down. She says that's free for guests. She says
Sure, I'm
it
gonna check that out.
yeah. And there you'll find some dried beef. She says
Love that.
and some like tack biscuits, just like simple foods, nothing like fresh or perishable. And then she says
In my
but
breastplate.
please. She says, please, the cellar is off limits to guests. Thank you.
Why?
Cellar.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. She
Okay.
pulls the curtain.
The cellar.
So you guys have a room upstairs. She gives you a room key, and you guys can long rest if you want to. But first, you can grab some drinks. So what you see, there's a little bar set up there. There doesn't seem to be anyone manning this place. There just seems to be like just stuff around.
Yeah.
Roll me a perception as you guys look around this room.
About to pour myself a drink. Yeah, come on, that's a good one.
Non nat 20.
Okay. Yeah, as you go to, he walks over to pour a drink. As you reach for it, you're all looking at it. The tankard, one of these tankers of wines, like picks itself up and like floats over to a goblet and
Cool.
just like it like floats it over to you as
Even
you.
better.
An
Yeah.
enchanted
What I'm
bar.
talking
What do you
about.
know?
And as you look around, you go to your room. Your room is like you can see that it looks like an invisible person is like turning down the bed and like beating out like the dirt and the dust out of the mattress. And there are like a handful of unseen servants that are just kind of floating around this place.
Can you are they invisible?
Mm-hmm.
They're unseen.
Can you feel them?
No.
What is this Quietude always so sad about? She doesn't do any work.
She
So-
feels useless, probably.
Cool. We'll do.
Instead of taking a long rest, I'm gonna explore the cellar.
All right.
Hello.
When are you gonna do that? You gonna do that in the middle of the night or
After a
Nice,
short rest.
nice.
So everybody,
course.
does anyone else want to do anything before you guys go take your long rest?
I'm
How much do you drink? Just have a drink.
A couple.
How many is a couple?
3.
Okay, you're fine. Your burly will do.
And then I go to
Um,
sleep.
Yeah, okay. So you go to sleep. What do you do, Nicole?
I go to sleep.
You go to sleep. What do you do, Brandon?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Okay, you go to sleep.
Passed out.
All right. So,
Let's go.
Be sneaky.
Is he selling you?
I'm gonna just go sneak and.
so what we'll
Kick
do
in
is
the door.
we'll just say you're gonna go investigate it first,
Yeah.
and then if you have enough time, you can still probably grab a long rest, just
Yeah.
depending on how long you're down there. But
Yeah.
you're like, good night, everyone. And then they all close their doors. Roll me a stealth.
There we go.
Ew. Not nat 20.
Cool. I'll let you decide as a group whether you guys see him or not, because if somebody wants to follow you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I assume that they all went to sleep. So you creep downstairs, and Quietude's curtain is drawn. The doors to the front has been closed and barred from the inside, so the inn has like hours and is closed for the night.
No, thank you.
There's a LaCroix in there if you want one.
Ooh, them LaCroix.
I wanted water.
I'm Ryan LaCroix.
He goes.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He goes, I wanted water, not that bullshit.
That's always okay. That's okay. There's always
That's
one of
nice.
those underneath
Yeah.
his breath. So.
Sorry, I tried to be nice to you and offer you things.
Should have just let him say it under his breath. That's
take
the
a-
polite.
Yeah, that's typically what I do.
Okay, so you sneak to the doorway, and it is locked.
Yeah.
So
Naturally.
go ahead and roll a lockpick for me.
Absolutely.
Naturally. After a nat 20.
25.
Click.
Click.
The cellar is pitch black, and it is a steep set of wooden stairs that you can feel descends into like almost like a tunnel. This is like built on top of like maybe an old well or something. They've converted it. So,
Very cool.
roll me a stealth as you try to not hit those old creaky. And are you just kind of try to blind your way down there?
I mean,
Or like get down there and then open your lantern, like
Maybe
you
get in
close
and
the door behind you
maybe
first.
go in and shut the door.
Okay, so you go in behind you and you shut the door.
This is so dumb. I'm gonna go first.
Roll that stealth. Roll that stealth. Roll with disadvantage as you open your hooded lantern.
Oh, cool. Disadvantage, you say?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use a hero point.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh.
Not bad.
It's not. Yeah.
I'm way better than my last roll. I'm gonna say 22.
It was whack though.
Alright,
You could have
that
had
was
a really
whack.
You had really cool.
So you get down there and it's just a cellar. There's wine down there. There's some other stuff. You kind of notice that at the bottom they've built up these shelves and it kind of works it into like a single path. What's your passive perception?
16.
Okay, but when you get up to the end of this path, you notice a discoloration in the rocks at the end of it, and you see that with a little bit of pressure, click in the slide, that there's a secret door.
Nice.
That when you kind of like look at it, you're like, oh damn, this is a tunnel, and like it seems to like lead out and up. Do you want to continue to explore this tunnel?
No. No. I wait for my friends.
Okay.
There's no way we're gonna be able to get in there.
Roll an investigation as you're looking at this tunnel.
Does it have anything to do with traps? Am I looking for a
It's not a
trap?
trap. You're investigating to see if you can figure out anything with this tunnel.
It's that and that one.
Archer
You
trap.
want an
I'm gonna use my
Or a hero
I
point.
have a half one. I rolled in that one, so I'm using my half one luck to make
Cool.
it go away.
Yeah.
I rolled a investigation. Is that right? I rolled a 14.
Yes. You notice something that at first you didn't see because of the light from your lantern is the same light as the marking. It's the same color. It's this yellow. It's a circle with a dot in the middle and then 10 dots around it.
Oh, the Xanathars.
Exactly, bingo. Bingo, bingo, bingo. And your character recognizes that because we already established that you did a little bit of spying.
Yeah.
So
I did.
this is a tunnel that you, based on the location and what you know, and this being Skullport, you're betting that this tunnel probably leads back to his private hangout.
Very cool.
Which would be which also is intriguing to you because you remember rumors recently that a group of heroes, brash young heroes, stormed into Xanathar's hideout and brutally murdered him. Which of course has been discounted. The Xanathar apparently still exists. Business as usual. No one has seen him. But who knows? There might be something inside of old Xanathar's hideout if you wanted it. Anyways, that's the thing you know about this place, and you kind of go back and you pop the door, closing the secret door. Roll me a stealth as you exit the cellar.
With disadvantage because I have a lantern, or am I exiting?
I imagine once you get your
to the top.
once you get to the stairs, you can only see anything.
22.
Oh, yeah, you get all the way to the top of the stairs, and you open the door.
You just swallow.
And there's someone standing right there.
Yeah. But she's not facing you. She's at the other end, and it's what was her name?
Quietude.
Quietude. And she's just like softly like weeping and like drinking this like tankard of like wine, and just like kind of like folded over on herself. And go ahead and make me another stealth as you try to sneak behind her upstairs.
Let's get out of there. Skidoodle. I want you. Oh my!
Hero point.
My last hero point.
Do it. I'm gonna roll that you can't give each other hero points when you're not with each other.
Oh, I like that. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
Why
like
wouldn't you do that? Nat 20.
All right.
Yeah, big.
As you kind of get around her, she's like, wait, what are you doing? And you like push yourself up and like up against the stairs, and she like turns away from you towards the door, and she's yelling at this like there's an unseen servant that's like hitting like a rug against like the door, and she's like, "What are you? Just stop it! You're gonna wake our guests!" And she like walks over and like pulls it out, and you just kind of sneak upstairs and into your room.
As a nat 20, you could probably push throwing things also.
Cool, I like that. Have a hero point for doing that fun little
Thank you.
thing. Who messaged me?
You know, just mixing it up a little.
Lauren's watching.
Okay, cool. So you get upstairs and you have plenty of time to get your long rest.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, so you're in bed. You're in bed and you're like, oh, now I know a secret entrance into Xanathar's private hideout.
Down.
Maybe we should wait for the whole group. Maybe we should just go for it. I don't know.
We got a long rest.
We're about to get a long rest. We're about to be pretty buff.
Yeah.
Let's go check out your memory thing.
The funny thing about that is if you do that, I will have to put down this book.
And pull it.
Yeah. There's nothing about that in here. That's but you'll just be going.
Is that really in there?
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, and
That's a nice little
these are the
integration,
same.
like-
That's Waterdeep.
yeah.
Dragon Ice. This is
Yeah.
Waterdeep.
Yeah.
That you were supposed to play this one after that one,
Yeah.
which is why I was like, you guys could have played your characters from the previous campaign if you wanted to.
Very cool.
But those things that happened in our session still happened. So, like Xanathar, you guys killing Xanathar.
Actually, Xanathar is dead, so we're not going to meet Xanathar per se.
Not at least the one you fought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They could have replaced some other beholder could have replaced him. I'm assuming.
Roll an intelligence check since we've established that you've done a little bit of spying on Xanathar's guild. I kind of like this.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna use my hero point because I like to do things like that. Type.
I can move through vegetables. Ooh, we're making we're figuring out that shiny
15.
15.
my phrasing.
You have heard rumor that Xanathar wears it. You know that Xanathar is known for wearing lots of precious baubles on his eye stalks. You know that at least one of those rings is magic. It probably has some sort of something to do with his legacy and longevity. Not that the specifics around that, but you've heard a certain rumor about that, and that would be your conclusion that there's something to do with his magic rings is the reason that
May have kept him
alive forever, or it could have to do with the fact that he's a beholder. I mean, beholders have weird, so. All right, so you guys all wake up the next morning. Quietude is there. She's in a much better mood. She's like, oh hi, hey guys, did you sleep good?
What?
I tell you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. She goes,
Did
you sleep good?
Into Xanathar's.
And she got some food, and it's a very modest. It's a lot of like stale bread and stuff. She doesn't have a lot of help here except for the invisible people who are only so good at doing tasks as what you're coming to find. It's a little more annoying this morning. It was pretty cool last night. You're really tired. They're pouring your wine. You're like, oh, thank God the doors were closed. It's like we're safe. And then this morning it's like they're dropping, these ghosts are dropping shit on your like table, and, like dunk dunk, and you're like throwing glasses at you. Oh, fuck. But you guys can go ahead and eat your food, and do you? I assume you want to head on out, right? You tell them about the tunnel.
I do. I tell them about the tunnel. I say, let's go check out the thing. What's happening with his cloak, and maybe we go see what's up with Xanathar. Maybe we. I don't know what else we're doing. We could go buy some stuff. You are looking for some magical items. Maybe like a.
And this cloak might even be one we don't know yet.
It
so,
is.
I mean, it is, but I'm just
Yes,
saying.
you're right. You're right.
And how long did I say the range in your telepathy was?
Telepathy.
Remember you guys can speak to each
Let
other.
me see.
I think it wasn't that.
It was
super
that
far.
It wasn't that far. I don't think it was that far.
Okay.
And I think we had to be seeing each other.
Oh, okay.
I think we had to be.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. All right. Well, unless you have any magic to contact Meryl, you don't really know how the rest of the group is. Which I think we'll play that beat for just role playing. You obviously know that the people aren't here are fine. I'm not killing them off while they're not here. But
A roving band of orcs
just
rolls through. And
sorry, you weren't here to play your character. You're dead. No, not that. On your way towards the second level, which you guys see the signs for, you pass a few shops. This place called the Feathered Rat, which you see signs for different types of pets. As you pass by this place, roll me a dex save, Minerva.
I'm like a hawk is like trying to get you out of the. Oh, some dude's trying to grab you to sell you.
14.
Yeah, a dog jumps out of the shop, and it's gonna run up and then try to grab you.
I just want you to know that was
What a aggressive ass
vocals.
dog. Can I not like
vocals
attempt
were
to kick it?
Yes, you can attempt to kick it. I was about to stab it with.
You know,
I should've
Frank
protected
Welker, the
Look
voice
at
actor of Megatron, is also the voice actor of Scooby Doo, and you've probably heard
Did
him.
you fix it? Did I mess this up?
Yeah, you totally.
Well, I didn't, but the dog.
I'm gonna blame you because I like my dog.
You told me. Yeah, I had to protect it from the dog.
You did. No, you're fine. You've probably heard him more than you know because he has done he just does dog barks.
Okay.
So like anytime there's a dog bark in the movie, it's always the guy. It's almost always Scooby Doo or Megatron. So it's like always
Frank
that guy.
Welker.
Yeah, Frank Welker. Okay, cool.
Nice tidbit.
So the dog jumps out, and you not being a cat, an actual cat, you jump out of its way, and you can counter any way you think is cute. And out of the shop, a half elf, kind of a. She looks like in her early 20s.
No.
She's got a little bit of dirt on her, but she's generally she's like, oh no, I'm so sorry, and she pulls the dog back. She goes, and she's like, Max, come on, like Raimi, stop it. No, Raimi, stop it.
That dog is aggressive, man.
Yeah. She says,
Well,
well, he's
I
trained.
sheathed my sword.
Yeah.
Because I'm little and a big ass dog starts barking.
Yeah. She's like, I'm sorry. She's trained to catch the stray animals, and I sell them, and I try to find them here, homes here at my shop. She says, my name is Olvira Snowveins, and she's a half elf. And she says, I have all sorts of interesting pets to buy. And she's kind of petting her dog, and she says something in Elvish to it, and it kind of and goes back into the shop, bad dog, but in Elvish, and a little twinkle of magic you can kind of see as she kind of commands it
Let me
back.
see what you got.
So she's got all kinds of things.
You
If
got
you
a
guys are
house.
interested.
What you got in your house?
She says,
I get a pet.
She says, I've got a bat. I've got a bat for sale. Another cat. You see, you already have a cat. I guess. How about a? She looks at you and she grabs you and she pulls up your tail. And she's like,
Whoa.
how about a little boy? You can go ahead and make an attack roll if you want.
Right. Yeah, I would. I
Yeah,
feel
you-
like I'd claw
yeah.
the shit out of her. Is that strength to add to? for a claw
Yeah,
attack?
it's a strength attack.
11.
Yeah, you get. scratch her real good. You get 1 point of damage. You're right on the cheek. She's like, ow! She's like, she like drops you. She's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, don't
She
touch,
says,
don't touch her.
There's
cat.
a reason this cat has armor.
And she looks at you.
There's
and
a reason this cat has armor.
And she kind of like gesticulates a little bit. And you don't respond to her. And she goes, that's not a cat, is it?
No.
Why don't you mind your own business?
She goes, sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Mm-hmm.
She says, well, I've got real cats.
Do you want a fat cat?
I'm not speaking to her. I don't like her.
Yeah, and she still every once in a while will try to like touch, connect. It's not working. She's like, that's not a cat.
Is she like a druid?
I don't know. Roll an investigation.
Let's do that.
This lady seems cool.
Can I roll insight on him?
Yep.
Investigate.
Nat 20.
Ooh. Inside. 20,
I rolled
23.
What would you ask me to roll?
I don't know. Investigation.
Yeah.
Walk around the table. What did you roll, Caitlin?
23.
What skill?
Insight.
Insight. And what did you roll? What skill?
Insight.
Insight. You guys both get the feeling from her of, even though she grabbed you by the, she genuinely thought you were a cat. She seems nice.
Sexing you.
She seems very, very nice. She seems to be hiding something, but not in a way. In a way that she seems to be guarding certain information. Not like she's like, I've got a pit trap behind me, tee, but like there's more to her than meets the eye.
But
Is what you get
might.
from her.
You might.
When you rolled investigation, what'd you roll?
I rolled an investigation on
Or magic?
the room.
On the room? Yeah, it's full of animals. There's a giant fire beetle. There's a toad. There's a giant rat. There's a lizard. There's a rat. A regular rat. There's a spider. There's a sturge in a cage. In a bird cage. This big sturge. She's got all these things. She says,
These are like giant mosquitoes or something, right?
yeah, it's like a mosquito and a bat and a buzzard had a baby.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast to have at a
So
kid's birthday.
she's like, let me know whatever you like. And then she said, all prices are negotiable.
That's all she's got.
That's all
Rats,
she's got.
rats, and a bat.
She's got a bat, a cat, a frog, a toad, a giant fire beetle, a giant rat, a lizard, a regular rat, a spider, or a sturge.
Like a bearded dragon or a leopard gecko?
Like what type of?
It's not a giant lizard. It's just a lizard. So it's like a iguana.
Let's try to get cool.
Do I?
She didn't have anything.
Can I
cool.
see if I connect with any of the rats? Because I feel like an armored cat with a rat on its back would be pretty dope.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Roll
That would be awesome.
And I want to find him armor, and he can look like a little rhino.
roll me an insight as you walk around this space.
We'll just awaken him, and he will be a little rider.
That's
He'll
the
have his
end
own.
goal.
He'll have his own little like pike.
I'm gonna use a hero point, but that was a that one.
I can't wait until I get to level 8, because I'm going to take Bountiful Luck, and then there won't be any nat ones on the table.
Oh.
Nice.
Do
What
it
did you roll?
twice in a row?
Another not
Oh,
one.
see,
But I
that's
have
fine.
luck, so I'm gonna do
Oh.
it again.
Dang.
Cool.
Cool.
Insight
Yes.
23.
Awesome. Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Jeez.
You see this little black
Oh, she's gonna eat it.
this little black rat that's
She's gonna eat it.
5.
Aww, we're going to have to buy a rat.
Would you roll?
5.
You feel a jolt and a surge of energy soar through your spine. It's a pain you've only felt one time before. You seize up, and your eyesight goes blurry. And as you look and you kind of get yourself back, and you look up, there is this humongous white cat staring at you in battle armor. That is about to eat your ass.
Shit! I'm the fucking rat now. I switch bodies. It's a freaky fucking Friday.
Is that a thing that happens to you?
It's never happened before.
Yeah. It's a thing that could have potentially happened.
Wow.
And without Meryl around to.
And I'm a black rat?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Like sewer rat looking?
No, you're pretty cute.
Cute?
This is
Yeah.
something we would know.
Fluffy?
Cute, yellow, pink tail.
I assume, right?
Cool.
We just didn't think that it was.
But yeah, you're sleek. You're a sleek little black rat.
Cool.
But can you talk? She can still talk.
Yeah. She's exactly the same. She just now pulls up
She's good
rat
shit.
stats
Oh,
instead of cat
Now I'm
stats.
a rat, y'all.
You gotta catch that cat.
And you can use your reaction to conjure a mage hand and go ahead and grab your gear off of that cat. Unfortunately, the cat armor is regular armor,
Right.
so it's just
Yeah. It doesn't adjust to me.
And she kind of she comes back into the corner and she's like, Abbott, how did you get out? And she tries to grab you, and she does like her thing, trying to like calm the animal, and you do whatever you want. You just get her away from her. You don't let her pick you up, or you do.
I feel like I'd bite her.
Okay, yeah, you bite her. She's like, what the? And she looks down at you and at the rat, and then she looks down at the cat, and the cat goes, and then goes on its back and its belly, clanking around in its armor.
Can we pull that armor off and maybe resell it?
And
or
she's
something?
like, how much for the cat and the armor?
That's you. You can do whatever you want.
You can say something to us.
I feel like you would just start negotiating,
Yeah, you would.
honestly.
Well, I pick her up.
That's a compulsion, right?
That would be like your thing.
I like pick the cat up and I'm like, well, this is a very nice cat.
No, you can't sell the cat.
You want to hold it? And it's like kind of her rat cat now, so I let her hold it.
She says, well, honestly, she says, it's a beautiful cat. She's like, I feel like I maybe should be charging you for stealing my property. How about we call it a fair trade? And she takes the cat in her arm.
Maybe
Cat
give
is
us
worth way
5
more
gold.
than-
Or I can retain ownership of my rat.
Can
She-
you
I take the rat.
maybe give us the armor?
Honestly.
She says, I'll pay you for the armor.
Nice.
Yeah, she says, she seems, that only seems fair.
You might be able to resell it.
She says, you aren't from around these parts, are you folks?
Who is from around these parts?
She says, good point. She gives you, how much did you ask for the armor?
150 gold?
She goes, I don't have that. She says, I'll tell you what. She says, I'll happily give you any of these. Well,
Animals?
she says maybe. She says,
Put you on the shoulder.
she says, I have this giant fire beetle. It's worth 25 gold pieces.
You want to ride a giant fire beetle?
Will it let me ride it?
Did you say that out loud?
I message it to you. I'm still refusing.
If you're
to talk
inquiring
this
as to
lady.
these
I'm
animals,
so...
and they are animals. So if they have at least been domesticated, but like a giant fire beetle is still going to try to bite you. It needs to be in like a terrarium. You know what I mean? Like you can train.
Definitely don't want him.
Yeah.
No, we're cool. Keep the armor, whatever.
She says I'll give you 20 gold pieces. She
Sold.
says that's all I have on me.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So she gives you the 20 gold.
Sorry.
I'm gonna stick out a mage hand to.
You are a so you are a
Whack.
black rat.
That's whack.
Good burn. Good burn.
Tara's gonna be so.
That's good timing. I liked that. Nobody here expected that.
She's gonna be so upset. Like I shouldn't have left. It's all my
Because she
fault.
could have like switched you or something, maybe.
They are safer when they're together.
Damn.
I almost used a luck point to reverse it too, but I was like, we'll see where this goes.
Mhm.
Because fun.
Right. Sometimes you're supposed
What's
to. not.
wrong, Max? Say you go outside. All right. Well, the dog needs to go outside, and
I could
we're
go outside.
yeah.
Alright,
Let's
fine.
see what else is on this level real quick. Maybe we can get to a nice little spot. So you walk past that. Yeah, let's just take a quick break, and then we'll come back, and we'll talk about Thaglar's Foundry, this ugly stone foundry that's 4 stories tall. That you guys pass by on your way to the grand staircase.
Interesting.
And we will BRB. Give us, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever. We'll
Lauren's
be
gonna
back.
be easy.
I
Lauren,
promise.
you can
Lauren's
just
like
watch it.
right on.
Lauren, we'll be back. I
So
promise.
everyone out there, remember.
I promise, Lauren. We'll be back.
Suck it.
All right, suck it. All right.
And not a lot of people know about those websites. Now, of course, the more viewership you have, the better games that you'll be able to get. Sometimes you get lucky and you get like really big games. It just all depends. Congrats on fam. Thank you, chat. Is there aim assist for console? It's light aim assist. It's not as heavy as Crackdown. Oh, Crackdown. Tweak on DK against Leo. That's actually interesting. There's light aim assist. It's not as heavy as Crackdown. It's not as heavy as Red Dead. But it is there. No problem, Blast. I seem like a very near person. Thank you. Where are we going? I don't know where we're going. Oh. It took an hour and a half for us to get people to start trolling. That's crazy. Aim assist in Red Dead should be called aimbot. Yeah, it's actually really annoying. See, the thing is, I liked Red Dead 1 or Red Dead Revolver 1's Red Dead Redemption 1, not Red Dead Revolver. Red Dead Redemption 1's aim assist because it actually was a fun aim assist. And I know that sounds goofy, but I don't know how they did it, but it was actually fun. Even when like I played it a couple months ago, it was still fun. But Red Dead Redemption 2? Oh, that shit was terrible. That shit was terrible. What games have I gotten for free from the website? Trying to think of like a really big game that I got for free. Because I get a decent amount of games for free.
An outlaw camp. Bad news. Find the sentinels first and get them fighting.
Trying to get over to my teammates right now. How do I get over there? How the hell do I get over to my teammates? I have no idea how to get over there. Thank you for the sub. I didn't actually see who it was. Sorry about that. I have no idea how to get to my teammates. This is an issue. I don't know what I'm doing. This is
We're back. Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Nick.
Hey.
All right, so the next spot you guys walk past is this foundry. Faglar's Foundry. It says in big dwarvish letters, each word being a full story tall. So it's like Faglar's Foundry. Remember, it was like you can see the actual lettering, but it like shimmers and you can like read it as you're looking at it. It like kind of changes for you when it goes back. For the uninitiated, they traveled to the far realm at the beginning of the game and got some extra like special psychic abilities because why not? All right, and this
cool shit.
This place is full of. This place is huge and it's full of Duergar Smith, and you can hear them like working like bing 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 and there are.
Yeah, you need to look at your rat
So,
stats.
are you guys interested in that place?
Maybe some rat magical armor?
This is not that kind of. Well, no, that's true. This place makes stuff. It does not sell stuff. It's like it's a factory. So like orders are made there. They don't have like a shop. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have something.
You can't place an order.
I feel like I can persuade someone to make me something.
You can place an order for sure. For magical items, you're gonna have to like to meet Faglar. You're gonna have to like have a reason to meet him. This is a 4-story tall building. You know what I mean? Like you guys like it is. This is like you saying I'm gonna go to Sonic corporate offices and I'm gonna ask for a cheeseburger.
Heard that.
You know what I mean? Like
Heard that,
yeah.
All
So,
clear.
if you want to go inside and kind of try to like charm your way to meet with him, pretend to be someone else or something like that.
Go to the place where the house is.
It's
3rd floor.
Let's keep rolling.
All right, so you guys, you make it up the staircase, the grand staircase, and as you do, it's actually like 5 or 6 staircases that are back and forth. Think like an escalator of them all, but nothing moves. And it's full of people, and there's all these different creatures. There's this big, this 2 or 3 of these big, buzzard-looking, creatures. They walk by you, and they're wearing these, big, Japanese brimmed hats, and they're like, excuse us, pardon us, excuse us, and they're kind of pushing past you guys. And there's just all these. At one point you see a werewolf walking by in full werewolf mode. Just he looks at you and he's just like, "What's up?" And just keeps walking. And there are honest to God Jawas. There's just Jawas there.
Yeah.
They're just there because I don't care. Because there's Jawas there.
That's what I thought of when
they're not actually Jawas, but
that's the only thing
That's
I
what I
was
thought
thinking
of when you were
those are
talking
Darklings. So they actually kind of are like Jawas.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What's a Jawa?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I'll make you watch
forgot
Star Trek one of these days.
You've been doing pretty well for.
I'm working on Harry Potter right now, guys. It's a process.
All right, that's fair. All right, so you move past another place called the Bat's Roost, which you hear shouting and cheering coming through. It's like an old building, and the roof has been ripped off, and it's like an open air. You hear kill him, get him down. And you hear a voice like, I've got 300 coins on it. And people are betting and yelling.
Ooh,
so there's some sort of fighting, professional fighting going on.
Yeah, let me check that out.
As you got up close to it, you see the front doors have been ripped down, and there's actually just chains set up that kind of make a ticket taking booth, and there's a curtain. And as you go up, it's pretty quick to get through. There is a hobgoblin. No, there's a bugbear. It's a bugbear. There's a bugbear bodyguard who's like 10 gold.
Don't they speak Goblin?
10 gold, please.
Where the hell are we?
He would speak Goblin, but he's been trained
Really
to speak common.
He can understand us though.
Well, I don't know what he said.
Tell him I'm a fighter. I'm just trying to get through.
10 gold, please.
He's saying please, jeez.
10 gold, please. He starts screaming, please.
Yeah, I'll give you.
He doesn't know what he's saying.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. 9 gold.
Yes, 10 gold, please.
Gotcha.
I don't even want to go in
I'm I don't know why we're.
This is Kalen. It's Kalen's
Do it, Caleb.
Yeah, I'll go in there. Whatever.
You paying 10 gold?
I'm gonna hide check and sneak behind him.
Roll a sneak.
Take
Can
the money.
I-
Take the money back.
Get on his shoulder.
Yeah, you can-
and,
you
like,
pretty much
pat
see
him.
high checks. That's why
You're
he's
just
like-
unseen. Like
If somebody's looking for you, they have to. They
Oh,
might
I'll
could
just
see you,
carry
but
you around.
you're
I'll carry the rat.
yeah for sure.
Side note, I'm gonna
In
be
my
looking
hair, like
for it.
Ratatouille.
for a bandana of holding. That way, like on the end of my tail, that's what all my stuff is in.
The bow, as you fashion it with
Yeah.
your shadow hand, you just make a little.
Cool.
It's just a little fold of fabric that has a little pocket of dimension inside of it.
Cool.
It was a toy you made back when you were at school.
Back when you were at which?
Back when you
school?
were at which school? You were like, look at this cool thing, and your older sister was always like,
Shut
what
the
the fuck?
fuck
Yeah,
up.
shut the fuck up.
It's like for all your like dolls to hold
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny. Have a hero point.
You have a hero point. Give it to her.
I will. It's yours. You have a hero point.
Okay, yeah. See, yeah, you go inside, and there are all kind of like there's this that going on, and as soon as you walk in, you see a ogre, missing an arm and wearing a big eye patch.
Cool.
Who's
An arm and an eye.
yeah. Basically, it looks like one side of his body was ripped off,
Yeah.
just like pulled apart, and then he looks like he was magically healed.
That's dope.
So he's like half an ogre. He's got this big club with an iron spike rubbed through it, and he's just one arm smashing at this half elf
Yeah.
woman who's wearing like a full hood and like a cloak, and she's just like tumbling and like jumping out of the way, and she is throwing darts.
Oh,
That she is.
And she throws this little small dart with this like a little like pom on the end of it, hits him in the neck, and he goes. And he like falls forward. Make me a dex save as this guy almost lands on him.
13.
Yeah, so this thing just like falls over and you just get pinned underneath it. He's knocked unconscious. He's just like. And
Get out of
this figure, as you're trying to get up, she's like, "You need a hand?" And she like pulls you up.
there. Oh, sure.
And she pulls back her hair, and she has like violet hair, and she has these like cool like markings that look like tattoos across her face, and her eyes are like orbs, not like pupils. And she says her name's Violet, and she says that she runs this. She runs the Bat's Roost, and you can see she's wearing like almost like a bat motifed outfit. Her hood even has like
Batgirl.
ears on it, and she's she doesn't like being called Batgirl, by the way. She like
Don't worry what you
banter wise. She pulls you up and she says, "You look like you could take your own." She says, "I've got a fight a slot open later this evening, and I had just had a guy drop out." She says, "I'll pay you 200 gold if you want to come back and fight later."
What kind of fights are there? What's
She
the
says-
rules here?
She says the only rules are in Skullport. There are no rules. She says anything can be expected. She says, "I'm the monster wrangler and the pit boss around here, so pretty much whatever I can scheme up goes."
Alright.
She says, "I don't promise it'll be easy." But she says, "But 200 gold, all yours."
Just me? Can I bring some home?
She says, "The more the merrier." She says, "I'll pay you 200 gold apiece."
Oh, nice. Alright.
Is it just like a ring?
Do you pop up to say that?
I unhide check.
Yeah.
yes.
She doesn't know you didn't pay.
Yeah.
She goes, every night I promise something different. For me, it's a spectacle. It's a performance. I don't know, I'm trying to reinvent the whole fighting for money thing.
I like that.
She's like, I want it to be, like, talked about out in Waterdeep.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So she says, she's always pushing the envelope. She says, it's certain death. She says, 200 gold apiece.
Well, let's go buy some stuff.
How can we get back through?
I
Your
draw my
man
rapier and I
charged
ask
me 10 gold.
if I have to be invited, or can I just throw my hat in the ring?
Do what?
He's gonna join in.
I ask if I can join.
Yeah, you can join. It's 200 gold apiece. She says the 10 gold is the entry fee for every person that comes in, and every person that comes in is eligible to join. It's your entry fee for the events, but it's also like the door fee. So that's how she makes her base money.
How do I get back in?
You
I've
pay
already
another
paid.
10 gold.
Oh!
Heard that.
Not worth it. Give me 10 gold. That's all I got.
She says, if you really want to get in that door, you'll figure out a way.
Alright, don't be mad if I kill your man.
She says, as long as it keeps the customers entertained, she says, I don't give a shit. And she walks off.
Alright.
Just gonna.
She's
Just like snipe him from a distance.
yeah,
and
she'll kill you as soon as love you. She's dangerous, like all these people are. All right, you continue down the street. She said the evening, so sometime after the evening bell for the last time the what is it called, the Worm, the restaurant, the last time they serve. You wander past a place called the Sea Chest, which is a place that sells boxes and chests and other containers. The shop owner kind of gives you a strange, unsettling feeling as his eyes lock you against you and just kind of follow you. He's not making a face. It's kind of like the deadpanness. It's like I don't know, pleasant or brainwashy. He just looks like a weirdo, like a weird old man.
What do you want?
I bet you know.
Then you guys also the Worm's Gold. That's what it was called. The Keel Hall, which is a 2-story feast hall that was shut down after the Spell Plague and never reopened its doors. It's all boarded up. So unlike the other buildings, now you're on the second floor. These abandoned buildings have all the markings of a place that people are living in these buildings on this level if they're abandoned. They may not have shops in them, but this one seems to be boarded up. And at 2 of the entrances, you notice that there are like a clump of I would describe them as bandits, kind of like at each door, kind of standing there loitering would be the way I would describe them.
Loitering bastards.
The most notable of them is a blind tiefling that seems to be like guffawing and laughing and like telling a story about how he like kicked this. He's like, I kicked the shit out of her. She had to be like, I don't know, 400 years old. I fucking killed her, man. She's dead. He's just like going on, and the other is like, and they're all just like laughing and being like scuzzbags.
He's blind?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Do you guys head on, or you interact with them?
I want no dealings with these.
Cool. You head on down to across. Now you guys are traveling across like rickety like bridges up and down. This whole second level is like, and then you'll get to a plateau where there'll be 2 or 3 buildings like that were built up together that allow for a little bit of street, as it were, and then it just kind of crisscrosses like a giant treehouse. This whole city is just like a pool. But it's kind of hard to navigate because of that. It takes anyone who's not a like person who's lived here for at least a season, which is 3 months, it takes them double the time any like a native would. So if you were trying to, now you're like walking through, you're like, we had to chase somebody, we'd be fucked. Like we would not, they would just get the slip on us. This place is pretty confusing. You pass a place called the Poison Quill. It's like a little shop. It just says like a listing of services, and the services include like, it just says like documents, papers, anything you need can be forged here. It's just like a really nice like stationery shop that also does forgeries, and they're very upfront about it. Sitting outside is the owner of the Poison Quill, a elderly lady who is drinking tea and smoking a long pipe. She's a small, kind of squat little woman. She wears a big, fat, flat hat and robes, and she's kind of singing. And her nails are incredibly long. She's just like drinking her tea, and she says, as you walk by, in a calm voice, she says, What do you need for your travels, my friends? She says, Old Taz can forge you any documents that you might need to make it big in the city above, in the city of splendors.
Ooh. Do you need any papers?
I was just wondering if we could forge like coupons to get into this fight later tonight, so we didn't have to pay.
Are we going back to that?
She looks at
I
you,
think he wanted to.
and she says, "Why aren't you a cute one?" She says, "I certainly could. Make a document to fool most of the people in Skullport, but I wouldn't cross Viola. She's as quick as she is fast, if you know what I mean. And quick-tempered. She said, she's kind of like, she looks at you, she gives you like, I'm thinking like Yoda, almost a Yoda vibe. She's very small. She's like this little, like, tiny, ancient-looking old woman. She says, she looks at you, and she says, you're a special bunch. She says, maybe you'd be interested in my premier services. She says, follow me. And she kind of pops down off her stool. And she's like, if you dare. And she kind of winks. And and she goes inside the shop. And her shop is, there's no door, it's just beads. So,
Of course it is, yeah.
so you guys walk in and you follow her?
Yeah, no problem.
She takes you in past a room with a really small room with a writing desk and a cash register. And hold on one second. It's Tara. Talk amongst yourselves.
Hot. It's a hot roll. Oh, have you seen that sport though? Speed climbing. This motherfucker's quick. But like it's ridiculous. Yeah, it just looks ridiculous. Like I guess you just do it so much.
Okay, so you
services.
she shows you just like her little area, and then she takes you down a hallway, past a tiny little room with a bare cot in it, and a map of well, as you guys walk by, rolling perception. She's kind of shuffling. She's pretty quick. She's kind of shuffling down this hallway.
Wow.
23.
We get into an altercation.
You see two maps. They check this good enough for the group. You guys can all kind of like spy as you walk by. In her room, there on the wall, there is a map of Waterdeep, and there is a map that looks very similar to that like architecture cutout that you guys saw in the first level of the dungeon of the Undermountain.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a map.
Sleight of hand that.
It's inside the room, so you'd have to like try to sneak away.
Oh, okay.
So
Do you want to like do a little sneak stuff?
I'm an urchin and I have that city secrets thing. Does that help me remember stuff from the map?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
I'd say that if you take you by yourself, not with the group, could travel the city at a normal speed, like a normal pace.
I'm gonna sneak in there and steal the map.
Right. Roll stealth.
Not nat 20.
Yeah, let's go.
You like kind of just nonchalantly like just kind of slink to the back of the group as they are going down a set of staircase. Like she's out of
sight.
Out of sight. Yeah. And you're like, and you just kind of like sneak over to the door, and as you do, what's your AC?
Nice.
17.
The door bites you.
Oh shit.
Of course it does.
And you scream.
Yeah.
And you take 7 damage,
Wow.
7 piercing damage.
I'm not sure I screamed.
And you hear a voice, a booming voice, say something like, "Errate vostra ogna," and so this bellowing voice like comes out, and her little frame is in the doorway, and the mimic door kind of reverts back to the way it was. She says, "I wouldn't touch anything in this house that isn't yours, my dear. Whole thing might eat you." And she kind of like shuttles off.
Can't resist.
How much damage? 7?
7, and the door is closed. So, she said as you guys are walking down the stairs, and now you guys are heading down this staircase, and it's comical. It's like first it's 5 minutes, and then it's 10 minutes. The whole time she's talking to you. She's saying, I bet you saw my map, did you?
Yes.
You're looking at the at Hallister's designs. Wish you get your hands on that. I bet you do. She says those are
that's why we tried to get it.
She says unfortunately those are not for sale. She says, but I can offer you this. And by the time she's done speaking, everyone roll an insight as she's talking. She kind of prattles on a little bit.
She's gonna murder us.
Nat.
16.
What am I rolling?
Inside.
Non-nat. 13.
You guys.
And you're the one that's most against this. The irony is not lost.
She, the way she's talking about the Undermountain, and more specifically about Hallister, it's interesting because she's calling him Hallister. Hallister this, Hallister that, Hallister. Not the Mad Mage, not Blackstaff, you know what I mean? Not the well, most people don't even say his name. Also,
it's really personal the way she's talking.
Yeah, it's very personal the way she's talking to him. Talking about him. She leads you around. She says it's like this little doorway, and she pulls back just the simple curtain, and then there is a pillared arcane gateway that's in this small room, very similar to the ones that you saw, those magic portals with the Elder Runes inside the Undermountain. She says for a small payment, 50 gold per person. She says I'm more than happy to help you.
Skip a level or two.
No, she says she knows the address of a teleportation circle in Waterdeep. She says, so if you ever need a quick exit, she says you just let old Taz know. 50 gold apiece, and I'll pass you through this baby, and you're out safe and free. She says,
But where?
She says down in the dock ward. She says an abandoned building. She says I have one of the only working ones in this close to the proximity of the Undermountain. She kind of pets it, and you guys look at it, and it's because it's one of the archways from the Undermountain. It's not just like an arcane gateway. You know what I mean? Like it's brick for brick. You've seen 2 of these things now, so this looks like another one of those. What were you gonna ask? I'm sorry.
I was curious if she'd let me look at that map.
No. She said, no, my dear. Not for your eyes. And yeah, that's it. So she leads you back upstairs. She says, once again, if you need anything, you just let she keeps referring to herself as Old Taz.
What's
Taz.
this place again?
The Poison Quill.
Poison Quill.
15 minutes. We descended.
It's a little hidden. You keep walking down the way. Dell, something catches your eye. You see a single-story building containing the workshop of a shield dwarf who has this big open-air workshop. So this is a shop that is mostly just a roof that has a series of chains. You can tell they get thrown up against it around the night. And this is Twinbeard's Traps. Thorvin Twinbeard is there. No. Zorvin owns the shop, and his name is put all over it, so it's like a stamp of approval. And there are a handful of goblins and a halfling who are working the shop right now. But Thorgan is not there right now. Thorgan, you know from your time spying, is a Xanathar operative, so that's the reason he's not at the shop. But you can buy traps if you want to.
Some traps.
You don't have any of your bear traps with you because they're all with Salem.
Yeah. Can I buy trap parts?
Yeah, for sure.
What do we call those again?
I don't remember. They had a little name. It was salvage scrap points. Scrap points. Yeah. Yeah. How many? It was X amount for a threshold, right?
Yeah.
Do you have that written down somewhere?
Yeah, you want me to look it up?
I mean, if you want to interact, if you want to use it.
I do want to know what's going on.
If you want to use your thing, yeah, I want you to look it up. If you want to leave this trap store, then no.
It's just a trap store.
Yeah, all kinds of traps though. He's got pieces from traps to rig your home. Also pieces to like hunting traps.
What was your question? Do you want to read it?
What's my question?
Yeah, you said something about. I'm just asking about scrap.
Yeah, let me see.
I want to buy some, but I think it costs 30 for a large trap, so I want at least 30.
I mean, in this situation, the scrap is like when you take anytime you trip a trap, you should be trying to recover. It's equal to your level of the trap dice. I mean, you're just like that. Cool. This place you can just buy these traps. I
can buy a large.
You can buy all the pieces that you need to do these. So a large trap is the pieces you need for a large trap is going to cost you 50, medium's 25, and small is going to be 10 gold.
Heard that.
Shoot.
Very cool. How heavy are these items?
Do what?
How heavy are these items?
A small, medium, large are 1, 2, 3 respectively.
Very cool.
So
What's the silver to gold ratio, trade ratio?
let's say everything's 10 to 1.
10 to 1?
Yeah.
Heard that. So I want to buy one large trap.
Okay. So that'd be 30 gold pieces.
30
Mm-hmm.
gold pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 300 silver.
Mm-hmm.
Sold.
Okay.
No, never mind. Shit. I have to barter.
Yeah, you always gotta haggle, bro.
I must has full cheaper.
All right, then roll
And he rolls his persuasion.
roll a persuasion, and we'll see if you can't get him to skim a few silver off of that, right?
Yes. Very cool. I'm going to use a hero point.
This Italian music is fun.
I'm going to do a 27. I actually should
Wow.
roll that with advantage.
Yeah. He's
Just a couple silver less.
It's just like this guy just works here. He's like, that's fine, man.
Whatever, dude.
yeah, for sure, dude.
Hey, you'll take less for this. Come on, man. Please.
Yeah, there are goblins that he can call to help him, but they're not very helpful because he's not much bigger than them. And
Cool.
yeah, for sure. You guys
Where's my
continue.
Yes.
Salgarth's Bounty is the next place. It's a junk shop. It is closed. You've been past the Lantern Lighters, then Undarian Dusk. Oh, I'm so sorry. By the way, Taz also offers identification as one of her services. So you were able to. Do you want to flashback and
Yeah.
We'll just flash
I
back
didn't
to.
know that.
Yeah. I forgot you guys were looking for that. So
Yeah.
we'll flash back to when you were interacting with her. Just in memory.
We forgot to ask.
You're holding your thing. She charges 5 gold pieces for identification.
That's no biggie. That's awesome.
And it's you can be attuned to it now. It's a magic item. It's the Cloak of Manta Ray.
Manta ray smells like fish.
It does smell like fish.
Manta ray.
It will cause you to have disadvantage on charisma checks
Charisma check.
that involve your being up in someone's face or like talking to someone, trying to romance them, that kind of thing. Unless they're a fish person. Kuatoa will love you.
Manta ray.
Alright, Cloak of the Baby
Oh
Cakes.
shit, this is cool.
Alright, Cloak of the Manta Ray. You don't even have to attune to it. It doesn't take a slot. While wearing this cloak, with its hood up, you can breathe underwater, and you have a swimming speed of 60 feet. It requires an action to pull the hood up or down. So,
Cool.
And you smell like fish.
yeah, and it's shaped like a manta ray.
Very
Okie
cool.
dokie.
Okay, cool. You walk by a place called the Lantern Lighters. It is a It is a lantern shop. It's really funny. It's like a gate, and then it's just piles and piles of lanterns. And he has a small little tin hut, and you can see him kind of sitting in it in the back, and he's just this old, withered old half elf with a long white beard. And he's kind of like, as you guys walk by, pathetically like, "Come buy a lantern."
No one needs a lantern.
You're like, "Thanks."
Terrible,
Got one.
terrible model. Get a new business.
If only you could just sell out of this stock, you know?
We don't have a lantern guy.
I don't need a lantern.
I can see in the dark, guy.
I've got a lantern guy. I'm in a mountain.
You guys walk by a giant fortress called Dalagor's Fortress. You can see the name. It is not a shop. It's like a private residence. It's walled off. It's got like a manor. It's like a big manor with a wall and a gate. And there aren't any guards or anything standing by, but there are it obviously is someone living there. You can see like a fire in like one of the windows. Everyone roll a perception.
Nine.
13.
21.
Nat 20.
All right.
Oh man, you rolling all the nat 20s,
As you turn the corner, you are faced with one of the flame skulls of Skullport. These were you've heard about these things before. They're just to be watched out for. There's like 13 of them, and they just live here, and it's just part of the history of this place, and it's just like a thing. Everyone roll initiative. This thing wants to kill you. That's what these things do. They just float around. They're just random. I just decided to have a random encounter.
Nice.
Type. Nat 20. Give me that shit.
Alright.
Do it.
I'll go first anyway.
You said nat 20. Kaylin, what'd you roll?
14.
Brandon, what'd you roll?
7.
I also rolled 7.
Roll off.
My dex is
Roll
a
up.
16.
Roll up.
Are you using rat stats for your decks?
Do
Rats.
I thought you said I kept my
Stats.
human stats.
You do, because at some point you might become a human again. But you use your mental stats, your human mental stats all the time. But you should be using
Physical stats.
animal physical stats for your walking speed, for all your
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I've been using them for walking speed.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah, for sure.
but
I assume your dex will be higher than his, but it's up to you guys. You want to go first?
What's your better? It doesn't matter to me. 14.
that makes my roll a 4.
Oh,
Then.
okay. Well, there you go.
So.
Dex is a 4.
No, my dex as a rat is a 11, so it's 0. So it's just my roll. There's no initiative bonus.
I got you. Okay.
Perfect.
And then the flame skull.
Fucking rat.
What did you roll, Jimmy?
Nat 20. Fuck that flame skull. I'm going.
All right. The flame skull
Luckily, I'm
shrieks, and it says.
Dislodge traps. I don't know if this will. They'll be applicable here, but
I may just sneak it out.
Floats, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it floats.
sneak attack.
I might just sneak attack and hide behind Kaylin.
Fine sneak. Fine sneak.
This thing speaks, but when it speaks, none of you can understand what it's saying. It's speaking in a language that's so old. It's a long dead language. So it's just like, wine, whoosh, and it's like just going to attack you. So these things are just like kind of crazy and like
Primordial.
they're from like when the city was built millennia ago, and they're just their origins are lost to history. And because of the way flame skulls are, if you kill them, you guys have already encountered one, right? In this campaign? No? Yeah, never mind. Alright, so what do you do, Jim?
Don't kill it!
Yeah, we have in this campaign. I'm pretty sure it was just me, Bryce.
It was
and Sarah
Trinzala.
because there was also like a lightning skull.
Yeah, it was one of Hallister's apprentices.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys learned that unless you perform like a religious ritual, these flame skulls just come back to life. Like they can't really be vanquished except with like holy water and like ceremony.
We'll kill it. A couple hours later, it comes back.
Exactly.
Tight.
What do you do?
Hide.
We just have to get away from it.
I make a hide check.
We'll make a high check.
For a moment.
Yes. So 27 to hide.
Give me a second. Loading.
Fuck this guy up with my sneak attack. 4.
Fuck the flame skulls. All right. What did you roll?
27
To hide?
to hide.
Yeah, it does not see you. It's focused on the rest of the group.
Very cool. So I'm gonna make a sneak attack with my crossbow.
Go for it.
We'll do 11 to hit.
It does not hit as the crossbow bolt passes through the green flame. It just incinerates.
What about 13?
13 hits.
Sorry, I just added my dex
Gotcha.
instead of adding my dex plus my.
So it looks like it's but it's just hits it. Yeah, you hit it, but you see that it does not do as much damage as you thought it would, since it's an undead creature. Your sneak attack does not work.
So does it do any damage?
It does regular damage, just not
No extra
no
d6s.
sneak, no d6s, no sneak
No
attack.
hiddens. Heard that. So I roll my damage die though, right?
Regular bolt damage plus your dex.
An 8.
Plus my dex?
Yeah. What was that your dex?
13.
Take that book.
13, nice.
Well, I don't always have my dex.
It should be.
Sometimes I just.
Range attacks are going to be your dice roll plus your dex modifier, and strength attacks are going to be, you always get to add your modifier.
Yeah, they're cool.
Okay, you said how much damage? 13?
Yep.
Nice. It shrieks as you hit it with your bolt. Alright. It now sees you,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns around and screams a horrible phrase you don't understand. And it kind of circles back, flying around. This thing, although it doesn't really have its mind, it's not stupid. They actually, you can tell, it's like looking around. These like little motes of fire are like in its eye sockets, and it's looking at you guys, and it's trying to figure out what the best course of action to vanquish its foe would be. So as it moves around, it kind of circles around and says an incantation. When it explodes, so do you. Make a dex save as a fireball gets cast.
He actually exploded, or did
No, he cast fireball on you guys.
Dex save.
Mm-hmm.
22. 23.
He just kind of puffs up with flame as he casts this fireball.
What a turkey.
He is a turkey. Yeah, you save.
18.
Save.
You use luck points on something. Sorry, 7.
24.
Save. Fail.
But does it change anything that the rat is like on somebody?
I mean, you said that she was like clinging to you, and you succeeded your save.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and roll with advantage. Since you're like holding on.
You don't get burned.
Some ratatouille type stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so she's actually thrown from you as you jump too fast.
sorry.
Classic shifter.
Oh,
Moved too fast.
Too quick.
All right. If you succeeded, you take half damage. If you fail, you take all of it, unless you have evasion, which you do.
Oh, it's fire damage?
Yeah.
Because of my demon armor, I am immune to fire damage.
Nice. What's the downside on that demon armor?
You look like a dick with all this
vulnerable
spiky armor on.
to
Radiant damage. Yeah. All right.
What?
And you look like a dick because you got like emo armor on.
It's a breastplate.
And,
It's
cur-
tight. I'm just
and
kidding.
charisma -2.
And I can walk through the fire.
Does it make you immune to fire or give you resistance?
I'm immune to fire.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah.
Where did you have that?
He has had it for a while.
He's had it, yeah, it's had it.
Well, luckily I rolled a ton of 2s, so you guys are fine. 2, 4, 6, 7.
Yeah, it says it's a +1 to AC immunity to fire.
21 on a fail. 10 on a success. 5 for you, Kaylin, since you succeeded and you are taking half damage. Nothing for you, I assume, because you're a rogue.
You just moved out of the
So
way.
it's just you and you.
Wait, is he immune to it?
I'm immune.
Oh, you're
to
immune, so
fire.
you don't take any damage.
I take damage.
What's immune mean?
And you take damage.
Means that you can't.
Means you're dead, Jimmy.
Means you're dead, Jimmy.
I can't remove it.
It means I'm immune.
That's about it.
I thought
Is
you
Jake
were
gonna
resistant.
kill Jimmy IRL?
IRL.
Not in real life. Just here over and over and over.
As soon as he fails a deck
I don't have
save,
to
he's
kill you.
dead.
I don't have to kill you today because at some point I will. That's just we
That's
play
the
enough
promise.
games. If we
That
play
is
enough
the
games, at
promise.
some point I'll kill your character.
I'd be surprised if Del doesn't die.
even with our like character forward approach. Okay, so yeah, you guys take that little bit of fire damage, and he's pretty pissed off that you aren't more hurt, and he's
He's
cursing.
a jerk. We were just chilling, man.
All right, Halleck, what do you do?
We were just chilling. I am going to shoot him with. First, use my bonus action to
'Kay.
summon a little magical arcane spirit arrow, and then that's not what I wanted.
Butter.
Butter. Oh my goodness.
I have,
15 to hit.
it's nice.
Hits.
I have disadvantage against demon attack rolls and
Okay.
saving throws.
And you have you're vulnerable to radiant damage.
Yeah.
How about necrotic damage? No.
Just let's
Cool.
So
I bet over time you earn
5.
vulnerability.
And then-
How about armored claw, I guess.
Also, you have the
Just that
So
unarmed attack is a
13
D8.
Okay.
damage, and then there's a force effect too.
your,
'cause
your
it's-
arm also turns like
Okay.
an axe.
Does it make a save?
It's a D6
hold on, let me see real quick.
because I gave you that bracer.
I got me. For
I haven't used that yet. I should.
is no.
Cool. What does it do?
It's just force damage. Like it's just extra force damage.
How much extra?
I already put it was 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you already put it
It was,
in.
it was 13 all day.
Okay, cool. Gotcha.
And then I'll attack again.
You see that because you converted it to force damage, it's very effective. Go ahead and make it.
And then that is, and I'm taking my, I'm reducing using my sharpshooter. So it'll be extra 10 damage. 20.
Yes.
2 to hit.
Yes.
And then
How do you kill it?
how do I kill it?
Fuck this flying skull.
You get an
I
extra,
shoot
10,
it-
you get
I
an extra
shoot-
10 damage, right?
Yeah. I shoot it in the eyeball, like just with another. Actually, not with a quick shot, but I'll just shoot it in the eyeball.
And you get him right in the socket.
Right in
and,
the socket.
And as his head explodes, he's just screaming something that you can't. It's like, and his head just, and the pieces just kind of like fall to the ground. And if you stand there long enough, you see them start to kind of, even in the moment, they start to kind of.
Let's get out of here.
I assume we should leave
All right,
this area.
everybody have a hero point. Didn't even get all the way around. Didn't even get all the way around. Maybe you guys should attack in packs, you little skulls. They don't.
They're loners.
They don't. They get in fights with each other, actually. If they encounter each other, they'll fight each other. Alright.
Hey, we run.
There is a place where you walk by, a place that appraises gemstones. I'm just going to kind of summarize what these places do as we go through this place. You have gemstones you want to appraise?
No, I don't have much sword. I was gonna sell it, but I don't need to sell them.
He doesn't buy them. He just appraises them.
I'll tell you what it's worth, but I don't want it.
I mean, I guess he would buy it. I guess he has a list of things he'd buy, but he's not buying any old gemstone off of you.
No.
He's already got a store through them.
Any armor for the mouse, for the moose?
At the jewelry store?
No.
You said you were going through different stores.
I know. Just being. Jimmy gets to be a dick to me, but
No, you can't.
It doesn't
No,
work.
you can't.
But Jimmy's immune.
he was immune the whole time. The next place you go is a place called next by is an Overflowing Urn. This door rests atop another structure that is crumbling with age. As a result, the building slightly tilts to the east, and here at the Overflowing Urn, a strange, spindly man named Gareth is hawking a flask of oil, so you can buy the oil here. There's a lantern place down the street. There's a place to buy oil here. It's just kind of a complimentary service.
He's leeching.
As you guys walk by him, he kind of gives you kind of a limp, like half smile.
Hey.
Wait.
Hey.
He's gonna be upset.
Boy.
Just a little too hard.
Hey, babe.
You brought some
I
eggs.
needed to.
Oh my gosh, we were waiting for your eggs.
These are home farmed eggs.
All right, guys. Tara's back. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Welcome Tara home.
Hi.
needed to be friendly, I
Stereo
guess.
white, you can't do that.
Don't point and laugh, man.
Okay.
It's fine. you
That is
can point.
offensive. That is offensive.
Oh,
Okay. Are you guys ready?
super ready.
So there are 3 more places in this little 3rd level of the Skull Port. We've got a plant shop you walk by, and there are these big exotic plants in it, but you see they're all mostly dried and dead. And there are vials of poison and baskets of medical fungi. And it's called Nightshade's Caress, and you can tell that it's like a apothecary.
Clever.
And then there is a restaurant. Remember I said the Worm's Gullet?
So I can buy some poison here.
Do you think they would have vials of blood?
You guys go inside?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys go inside. It's a very small shop. It's a musty and hot place.
Love it.
Very little light.
It's like the
And
swamps.
a withered figure in a black tattered cloak kind of shuffles forward. Her dry skin of her hand and her face, no lips, parchment-like. Everyone roll a investigation or a nature.
Oh, 5. I rolled 15 5s this evening.
15.
What?
13.
13. What did you roll? 15?
15.
12.
6.
You guys don't know what, but she's some sort of undead creature. She speaks with a dry, raspy voice. Like Voldemort in the Harry Potter films.
I got that one.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry.
And she's like, yeah, I've got poison. What kind of poison you want?
Oh, you know. Good old fashioned
Yeah, she's sure.
damage poison.
Yeah, you want poison? I got a poison that will
Damage
sap the life
poison.
that will sap the life from a creature that a life draining poison.
Life draining?
Mhm.
Like over time?
EOT.
How much?
She says 300 gold pieces.
300 gold pieces?
Mhm.
Damn. It's like a small vial of one-use poison.
Mm-hmm.
What about a poison you could dip a weapon or something?
She says the effects last for an hour. She says, and they do it, and they do a slow, moderate damage. So basically, it'd be like a D6 every round for an hour.
Very cool.
It will,
300 gold pieces?
Yeah, it's a poison designed to kill somebody.
Yeah. I want 3 vials.
She has 1.
I'll take it.
Yeah, she says.
Can I
Go for it.
have it for 250 gold pieces?
Roll persuasion.
Wait, what is she? Undead. I don't know what she is.
You know she's not alive.
Yeah. Not that.
She says, "My offer is firm. My offer is firm.
And for us.
Mortal."
Got any,
You sound infirm.
got any blood?
As she's speaking to you, she's like clipping flowers.
Okay. I'm gonna use a hero
Do you
point.
have any
and
blood? She
roll
says,
again.
"No, I do not."
Can I use a hero point?
She looks at you and she laughs. She's like, "I haven't had blood for a long time."
Nowhere in the... Alright.
Can I use a hero point and roll again?
Sure.
23.
She says, "My offer is firm."
Alright, no die. No dice. I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna risk it. That's okay.
That's funny. I love
Does
that.
she have any No, she's
Oh,
not gonna. No.
I want a poison.
She has all kinds of poisons. They're all premium. They're all expensive.
I'm
She-
not worried about the price. I'd pay the 300. I have the money.
Mm-hmm.
I just.
Take the level of exhaustion.
Level
I'm
exhaustion.
exhausted. What if we? I can roll with no.
You literally got the thing that's like, hey, you have all this money, don't buy stuff. If you can't persuade
I can
someone.
buy it for you.
The only other two features in this little pocket of, as you guys, he's inside talking, the rest of you are kind of standing outside looking around. There are two major features. You are now directly underneath that giant carved spider that I described that looks like it's hanging upside down on the ceiling of the cave. But it's a structure. You can see there are stairs that lead up to it on the far wall, and that it's like super. Sorry, I got distracted by my beautiful wife.
Oh.
I was looking at. It looks like a big spider, but it's a structure, and you can see that there are like arrow slits in it. It's a fortress that clings to the ceiling of this thing that Drow crafted a long, long time ago, and it looks to be abandoned. It would make an excellent hideout if one was to go investigate it. Also, the other big feature is there is a petrified purple worm that wraps around the entirety of the rest of this alleyway, kind of closing off the rest. It's back against the wall of the cavern, and it has been hollowed out and turned into a restaurant. And it's called the Worm's Gullet, and it's the only restaurant that in all of Skullport. And it's run by a Duergar and his kobolds that find what they can and make what they can. Mm-hmm. Everyone eats the same meal. It's just he makes one big batch, and that's all there is. So, I guess this is probably a good place. You guys have now explored this entire place.
Brandon's gonna buy that.
I'm gonna go buy that potion.
Cool.
So I don't have to pay.
Awesome.
It's 300, right?
It's a good work around.
I'm giving you my gold, so you don't have to use your gold.
I have to. Well, that's a steep. I mean, that 300.
Well, if you give him your gold, there's a chance that gold coin might work its way in there.
You're right.
I'll just buy it.
He has to buy. You can't be involved in the transaction.
You're right.
So think about what you want to do for next time. I think what we should do is we should think about some options. Obviously, going back to the third level of the dungeon's an option. You guys can think of anything you want to buy. Now that we've know all these shops, you guys can think about what you want to buy. We can talk about that on Messenger. Mm-hmm. And the next session, I'm cool with starting back.
Maybe go explore Xanathar's.
Yeah, that's. So let's decide if we want to go. If you're interested in going back into the third level of the dungeon or into Xanathar's hideout, since you know since your characters now know that your characters from the last game might have killed Xanathar. There might be magic items there and stuff that might be fun to do. So we can.
Sounds very interesting.
So So
a lot of fun to think about and talk about.
You can join. You can talk. Huh?
Where have I been?
You and the rest of the characters are on a beach. The beginning. You cast. Don't you have Lehman's tiny hut?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I had you cast
10 hours.
Yep, I had you cast Lehman's tiny hut so you could recover.
Great. Oh yeah, I was on free. Yeah. I suffered.
Okay, cool. So we'll decide whether you guys want to delve back into the third level or the whatever. I'll post that somewhere on social media so anyone who's interested will know. But without anybody cares, doesn't matter. And thank you for tuning in or watching or whatnot. And we'll see you next week. Have a good night, and remember, suck it.
Suck it.
All right. I need to make a credit sequence, I say, as I end the stream. Night.